Good morning, friends. Welcome to today's video post. This week we are exploring how we can come to understand the Dharma better through paying attention to the natural world, how it unfolds, um, what are the systems and that unfolds in. So just really paying attention. We talked about change and how that really is expressed through nature. Um, Talked about while much of that change is outside of our control, um, and just like many things in our Dharma practice can be outside of our control, what arises in the heart and mind in any given moment, we don't have control over, and yet over the long run, we do have agency in terms of what we cultivate and kind of what direction we steer the heart and mind in. And today, I want to talk a little bit about and practice with this sense of um, because things are happening and we don't have control over what they are or when they will occur, way too many causes and conditions coming together, for us to be able to uh, control. There is a sense of, yeah, right, anything at any time. Um, Looking out the window and it's snowing out here today. For some people, that might be like, oh no, snow again. Oh, I got to shovel. Oh, I got to brush off the car. This unwanted thing that we don't have control over, and here it is. Or on the other side, um, someone who loves snow, and yet this weekend it's going to warm up and rain. It's like, oh, rats, the snow's going to wash away. So this sense of like, oh, we're just subject to these things happening, sometimes things that we would prefer, sometimes things that we don't prefer, and it's just happening and we can't stop it and we can't control it. This is an example of what's called viparinami dukkha. It's the second kind of level or manifestation of dukkha, and it has to do primarily with the fact that things are changing and that we can't control them. And I think a good word is vulnerability. We're just vulnerable to things happening. We might like them, but then even if they happen and we do like them, oh, then they change and go away, and or things happen that we don't like. We're just vulnerable to this, and that state of vulnerability, if it's happening and we can tune in and actually experience it and know this level of dukkha, we can experience it, which is what the Buddha said we are to do with dukkha, this first noble truth. The Buddha said dukkha is to be experienced. Know it from our own experience. And so by tuning into nature in this way, it's quite easy to get this sense of, like, especially with the weather, or it doesn't have to be the weather. Maybe you have a house plant, yeah? Nice house plant, you've had it for a while, you enjoy feeding it and watering it and tending to it and watching it grow and flourish. Then all of a sudden it dies. Some disease happens and it dies. It's like, oh, just out of the blue. It was healthy, and then all of a sudden it up and dies. This is just nature following its nature. The conditions were right for that particular disease to gain entrance into that plant, and plant wasn't able to fend it off with what it had available to it in terms of defenses, and there you have it. Just nature following its nature. But it was our favorite plant, and this isn't extreme suffering, but you can get this sense of this vulnerable to things happening that maybe we would rather not happen. So paying attention to the natural world in this way really can shine a light on, in terms of what we're pointing to today, on this level of dukkha, this vulnerability to things happening. I just want to say, because we're in the realm of preferences here, gee, I prefer that the plant not die, or I prefer that it not snow, or whatever. The goal isn't to not have any preferences, to kind of turn into automatons, like I have no preferences. It's fine to have preferences, the way our taste buds are designed. It's like we prefer, you know, strawberry to chocolate, and that is not a problem. The suffering does not lie inherently in that preference. If there's going to be suffering with preferences, it lies in the attachment to the preference. It's fine to like strawberry better than chocolate. But what happens if we go, let's say, to get an ice cream or something, and they're out of strawberry? Now there's the moment where there's going to be suffering or not suffering, and that's going to ride on whether there's an attachment to the preference of strawberry over chocolate. So just to say, that, I love that it's snowing. I would prefer that it didn't rain this weekend and wash it away. That's okay. It's okay to love snow. But is my heart and mind going to contract when I see that weather forecast? 40 degrees and raining this weekend. Right there is kind of the choice point of whether there's going to be suffering or not. Can in that moment, can the heart and mind let go of that preference, supported by, here's the important part, supported by the wisdom that knows we're not in charge. At any given moment, warm weather can come in, melt the snow, and there we go. So, these are kind of mundane examples, but, much of our life is about mundane examples, and much of our suffering comes with the mundane things in our life. Okay, let's do a little formal practice now and tune into this second level of dukkha that's associated with anything happening at any time. You're settling into whatever posture you're going to meditate in. And even like right away, as you bring attention to the body, who knows what you're going to find? Maybe it's relaxed, maybe it's agitated, maybe it's free of discomfort, maybe there's lots of aches and pains. Right? We don't really know what we're going to find, what's going to contact a sense door at any given moment. This is vulnerability. Or maybe you contact the body and settle into the posture. And that initial kind of as you let go of the doing and thinking and just settle into being here, and be that initial kind of relaxation of the body and mind. Can be quite pleasant. And then maybe after some period of time, the mind starts to get restless. Yeah, that was nice, but now what? And that calm turns to subtle restlessness and agitation. Not what we would prefer, but there it is. Can we see that with wisdom? And not allow a preference for calm to give rise to suffering? To be able to let go and just acknowledge it's like this now. It was calm, now there's agitation. for example. Maybe as you turned your attention towards the breath, do a kind of a slight grabbing of it, and maybe it was a little tight, and a little forced, and just stay with it. And over time, more allowing the body just to breathe on its own. And the breath settles into a kind of a smooth rhythm. Can that be known, but without this sense of, I hope it stays like this. What can I do to try to make it stay like this? I don't want it to change. It's fine to enjoy the smooth, relaxed breath. It's even okay to, prefer that. Yeah, if I had to choose, I would prefer it be smooth rather than tight. The Buddha said sense pleasures are to be enjoyed. That's what we do with them. But what about when it goes back from being smooth to being slightly tight again? Then what? Can there be equanimity in the mind? Or will there be reactivity? So in our Vipassana practice, we sit in the midst of changing phenomenon, changing experience arising, contacting our sense doors in ways that we're not in control of. A moment ago, it was like that. Now it's like this. Can we open to this vulnerability and not defend against it, defend through an attempt to control? This understanding of dukkha can also be a source of compassion as to the degree that we experience it for ourselves, open to it, is to the degree that we understand that all beings are subject to this vulnerability. Sitting quietly, paying attention to the body and the breath, and all of a sudden, some thought about the future, something we have to do, and there's anxiety or worry, uncertainty. How am I going to get that done? Will I be able to get it done? Get it done in time, etc. And certainly, we can bring skillful means to that. We can be mindful of it, name it, feel it in the body, etc. And yet the fact that it arose, just this manifestation of anything, anytime, this is a manifestation of the Viparinami dukkha. As we go through our day, we can bring this understanding of how things are with us, so that we don't suffer. You know, these Zen stories, right? The master Zen favorite teacup. They say it's already broken, right? Like, oh, there's that understanding that anything at any time. They themselves or someone might knock it off the counter and it will break, and they're not in control over that. And it's not about not enjoying that teacup. The Zen master, their favorite teacup. They enjoy having a cup of tea out of it. And there's this understanding of how things are, and how things in this realm that they live in operate. And this, of course, makes a difference between suffering and not suffering. So, encourage you to bring this as much as you can, this understanding, um, throughout the day with you. And, maybe I can enjoy the snow and not worry so much about the weekend, or at least not resist the weekend. Just enjoy it for how it is. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow and Friday exploring how we can understand the Dharma, i.e., how things are, through paying attention to nature. Okay. Take care. Bye bye.